us will be live, live, live. You're on.
All right, great. Thanks, Chad. All right, welcome everybody to the seventh hour, I think, of the Boston Poetry Marathon. And up this hour, we're going to have another great set of poets. We'll be hearing from Clay Ventry, Ariella Ruth, Philip Hasouris, Sarah Pearlstein, Simone John, Holly Gurin, Ed Goddard, Joe Elliott, and Suzanne Mercury. And so we'll jump right in. And Clay, you're up first.
Hey, thanks, and thanks for having me. This is called Biography. Where have you been? She asked him. He said, 12 years ago, I was standing next to a random dog outside a tobacco store. A woman hands me an old flip phone saying it's for me and then walks away. I say hello into the phone and someone's yelling back in angry Russian couplets. The phone went dead within seconds and there was no one left to give it back to, so I kept it. I never saw that dog again. All right, she said, unfolding and handing him an envelope stamped Your Life, Do Not Bend. He straightened up on reading this, unwavering, resolute. This is called You Can Be Less Shy in French. You can stare in French unabashedly at a line of forthright cherry toes and all that is stacked above them. Imagine in French the tips of your fingers falling, gliding Frenchly from lips to neck while holding a book in your free hand and reading in English how to pronounce in French the word you can't remember now to describe the taste of blood from the lip you bit trying to mouth that ultra polysyllabic word in German to describe the shock of chainmail on skin before you declare in Portuguese the conquering of some land or other for a green-eyed troubritz bent on singing the ghosts back before the fires that made them. And it's not that you don't care in French, it's just that it's all Greek to you. And his last one's called On the Shores of the Mediterranean. Here's your problem. You like boats that wash up on the shores of the Mediterranean, where there you expect to find your grandmother, who you grew up calling Nada because you couldn't pronounce Nona, and you learned too late after she died for you to ask her how she survived the war by selling dust to the sky while hidden under the rubble of her favorite tobacco store, where the proprietor ate up all the misery in town and rented a boat and rowed far out on the Mediterranean and spit it all out so it mixed with all the water of the Mediterranean, and the fish of the Mediterranean breathed it in and were caught by the local fishermen who brought it back to the shores of the Mediterranean, or would have, if not for the storm whipped up by the local priest who developed a grudge against God and so took to casting spells in the waters of the Mediterranean. So the boats washed up on the shores of the Mediterranean, becoming the rib cages of dinosaurs you mistook for just a plague of boats that washed up on the shores of the Mediterranean, where you wanted to open an art gallery. The small kind you could show your Nada if she ever crawled out from under her past and made from the bones of bored romantics, syphilitic showstoppers lazy on the shores of the Mediterranean who gave themselves to art so you could live cheaply above your tiny gallery in a crooked apartment of plaster mixed with your pulverized breath and painted brown with no room inside to even swing a baguette, but big enough to have those tuberculosis parties with all your personally hand-picked literati friends and wait out the storm of a short life by monstering on stilts or trolling under the history that you know from books or books and books. You can't return to the library because the library is burning, adding smoke to the smoldering ruins of a flayed woman, forming something like a new religion, dousing a lighthouse with emerging numbers to make math on the shores of the Mediterranean, where you cast off a house with someone you love inside, floating alone while the evolving ghost of you grows more separate from everything, so even a trembling palm shuts tight before it would take your money. So it seems you made it to the moon after all without any booster rockets, just a will to unhinge from one shore to another. Thank you.
Beautiful, Clay. Thank you so much. All right. And our next reader is Ariella Ruth.
Thank you so much. Clay, that was awesome. The womb is a palimpsest. Performance notes. This performance is survival. 2, motherhood is tireless. 3, poetry requires stamina. 4, strive to be unapologetically significant. 5, emanate growth. 6, remember the impermanence of 2 life forces. 7, recall the transient organ of roots and limbs. 8, write into the space you will forget and greet the rage. 9, obtain a larger pantry to accommodate the body, writing. 10, get this bloody show on the road. Poet. How do you nourish a body from a body that needs to catch its breath? I forgot to lead with poems. How do you, the poems, forget the poet? Upstairs. Milk deep sleep is home. It is nearest to nothingness. She is of the age where each moment I wonder, is this the first she remembers? Is it now? Now? Is it now? She sleeps as if the bed beneath her is everything. She dreams and wanders only for now time and nothing more. We rest on an inherited spring mattress. There are few matters told that stay with me. My siblings' most honest words remain on the red house walls I stared at when they were spoken. My siblings wander now time and speak of nothingness in dreams. This only matters in sleep. As house walls age, they inherit honesty. Few matters stay with me. Near deep words remained. The age of my mattress. What sprung wondrously milk slept beneath rest. Is it now? Gnaw. Sunk earthward, mother came out gnawing and bled, contorted, must learn to reform. Said she wasn't tired, 'cause she was excited about the moon. She gnaws tired on mother's bones. Slinky earth moon will never conform. Mother bleeds in excitement. The gnawing asks to confront the earth, moon form, blood path, withered, sunken bone. And this is the last one called Sudden Turn. From joy to a muddly mix of delight and alarm, I see you pale, then slowly flushness returns to cheeks, pink, to lips, back from the window side. Alarm muddled by pale delight, pink side, joyful, cheeks pressed to the warm back of the window. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ariella. Powerful. So that was Ariella Ruth, and up next we have Philip Hasoris.
Thank you. This is a privilege and an honor to be here. 2 poems. Last year, I had the pleasure of visiting my father's birthplace in Greece and his village, and these 2 poems were written there. The first one is called 104 Stairs to Seralia, which is the beach that they would go to. But in order to get to the beach, they would have to climb 104 stairs, which each stair was 3 feet long. So you can imagine the steps that it took. The steps that lead you down to your origin, the carved remains of footprints etched by each generation. Pebbles and stone protrude out of necessity, cracks exposed from nature's age, weather-beaten, a reflection of our humanity. Echoes arise, we are here, let us guide you to the water. where with each tumbling wave that laps the shore, the white foam releases its energy. Tides changing with the faces of moon, dawn awakens, casting off its night skin. Air's grayness mingles in the self-belief of origin. The age of the stone sheds its wisdom, unfolding our stories of triumphs, lamenting our sorrow of misfortune, and stronger together we became family. The stone steps that lead upward, the curvature of the climb, the legs of the journey now heavy, the heart beats and beats as you push on for skyward. The blue mirrors the origin of the blue water, and the calmness wraps around you. Ancestors that brought you here to this place in this moment swaddles you in the blankets of clouds. Dreams form as hands cup moments. You are released into the essence of the body. Waiting arms hold, lie across family earth, drawing breath, bathe in the balance of life. And the second poem is called Ancient Ruins. Now, the village my father was born in was established in the 13th century, and basically the bones of the village remain the same. And so it's as if you were in the 13th century. So during the day, I would walk the paths and the secret passageways. And at night, I'd come home to where I was staying, get on the laptop, and I was back in the 21st century. It was quite confusing. So one night I wrote this poem, or should I say, I was the vessel of the writing, and I think my ancestors, or I believe my ancestors, wrote this as a warning to us. Ancient ruins. A day is but a moment among ruins. Ever-changing years seem to weave a seamless continuum of unbroken time over ancient broken sites. Yet, why does the earth spin on its axis along the same sunny path? Why does this globe carry all our pieces in a closed loop? Sky blue and sky white mirror the sea, draw us into reflection, seducing us to delve into deep separate oceans to seek origin. But when do we truly look at each other as specimens of the species human? Are we evolving or are we devolving? We have our salvation and the seeds of our destruction growing within us, evolution and de-evolution at once. Scholars remind us to learn from our past or be condemned to repeat it. What have we learned of science, mathematics, religion, philosophy, and greed? Who gave us opposable thumbs to crush the future? Who gave us tools to create? Oh my God, what have we given rise to? We call ourselves compassionate, humane, and intelligent as nations lay bleeding between fingers too tiny to hold the future. Why do so many hands squeeze out innocence in the name of what deity? Why do we seek sanctuary in the time of suffering, seek safe passage, refuge, and haven, but harbor leaders who turn eyes blind or away? Does Mother Earth feel her garden grow barren as her marrow is sucked out while the crimes against humanity regenerates like an infectious cancer? We cry out animal at those who do us injustice. We snivel round mouthfuls of burned fat and guzzled spirits as we dread the cries of the silence that speaks to us. Alms, alms, alms for the poor. In the spiritual, the vast cosmos of infinity, just where are we on the evolutionary scale. We wonder at ancient ruins and marvel at what was. And I ask you, what do such acts foretell? Will there be anything to wonder about us? I wonder today among the ruins. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Lovely. That was Philip Hasoris. And our next poet up is Sarah Perlstein. Oh, do we still have Sarah in the Zoom? I thought I saw.
I see her.
Oh.
I'm going to ask her to unmute. Sarah, you just need to unmute yourself.
Okay, and so
Okay, there we go.
Great, great.
Sorry. Can you see
No.
me or is that not a problem?
Oh, that's not a problem. We can hear you.
Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, and here I am.
Oh, great.
Just one sec. Gonna put my clips in so that my hair doesn't fall in my face while I'm reading. Sorry about this. I was just listening and I kind of got lost track of time. I'm sorry. Great work. Okay, here we go. This one is called Orphic Bloom. Ulysses Shrugged upended a day from the joys of the metempsychosis of the Yiddish emphatic lung out onto modern Hebrew, through the numinous odysseys of reminiscences, abatements, fasting, along to the tone of all night, long reading of Joyce to Hill, to Hal draping tech into the liftserv's awkward premises for Intel mapping, a gesture for numbed and dumb necessary defrosting. Frosting is never a rest, bitter, sweet taste if you have at it to accomplish. Ahmed studies, affect studies, showing atonement and that tonic tune of perturbits. At recess, when you can't but banter about aleatory creations, must celebrate the time of their doing before from our lips, yet strive to acquire their aimlessness. Sorry, this is handwritten and it's a little bit messy. Bats, fort da, to abscess, stress, to and fro, hinter and yawn, obsession and plenty, pardon, perfume, lilac time 35 years ago. Permeated my inadequate deodorant, my what's your damage hair flip like honeysuckling, long COVID, not drool worthy, been there since falling over to accommodate for sniffles, hubris, and making out like it was good as sex itself, next to a groan and grope in the thistledown smocked gray and green of the early autumn, that buzz of nerves taking from your need to mind wrestle out of the breakup. Rakishness down to a misspoke, fausting, foisting, black magic mountain into a coughing, hectic quorum swing line, naked, makes a nude pimento erase out of haptic trace modesty. Sorry, that was a little raw with the handwriting being an issue. But I'll try. Do I have time for another one?
You do.
Thanks. Run to the foothills. Onanistic. I feel too sure to go under the bed with your dirtied plate and fork. Maurice, you little devil, my head submerged in belly thoughts, with the monster beneath us being a candida shots of heroin and cortisol like replacement lithium, equalizing the time of day with no tomorrow. Like I say, my stomach rises in my throat. It's not a zone friendly for arrogance, cocks of the walks, and like-minded keeping. You have been always by your side, but by the windshield, 3 more secs that they would count back, then forth for an untimed counter reflux, a sour smelling, bittersweet earnestness, a nervous insurrection stops for no rebirth of selfless determination, purposed, alas, alone. I think that's all I got for you for now. At what time am I at?
Oh, I haven't been timing it exactly, but that was great. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for able to unmute and join us. So
Oh, thank you. Sorry about the technical difficulty at the beginning.
the dangers of Zoom, it happens. So that was Sarah Perlstein. Thank you again.
Thank
And up next, we have Simone John.
Hello, so great to be with you all. I'm not sure if it's possible to share my screen at all, but I've been doing more visual poems these days. So I wanted to offer this visual, some archival and digital media work that I've been doing before reading some of the accompanying work. Just some folks I'm spending times with as I'm writing poems. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and read a little bit of what I've been working on. This first poem is called Epilogue. Birthed into family's postscript, I'm already premature and too late. Youngest child understands this timing, missed the openings, arrived in the aftermath of my father's addiction, my mother's darkening depression, my family's nuclear living in Dorchester on Adams Street. Me born asking who and when. My first words, the end. Dear Auntie J, dear firstborn favorite, dear babe, dear Katie's girl, dear Jelaine, dear quick wit and quicker anger, dear chosen one spared from foster care by Francis, dear sepia half-smirk smile, dear different daughter, dear middle school mother, dear Darren's mother, dear gone mother, dear godmother, dear gone. A couple more. This one is called If You Can't Keep the House and the Family, You Can't Keep the Family in the House. No rabbit ear TV in the kitchen, sirens on screen and on the street. No bikes piled up against the rusty fence, no telling who actually owned them. No chairs on the front porch to wave at passerby or sit a bit, wait for a cab. No boys sneaking up the back steps. No girls getting box braids from Auntie Renee on the stoop. No stepping off the curb, leant back, looking up at 3 porches to see who all is home. No commentary from Auntie Cookie's 3rd floor perch on what goes on below. No bouncing that ball in my house, you hear me? No couches on the back porch. No running through the alley, sounds of sandals slapping. No, run to the store for me, will you? No stray dog to follow us the 5-block walk. No more knocking on the 1st floor window because Nana's bell's been broken. No ding-dong ditch. No mailman, do your duty. No telephone, say what? No say in what comes next. No evidence we were here. And these last 2, it's a short set, like a diptych. And thanks for having me. The first one is called I'm a Young Nigga from a Young Country. So it's no wonder I run reckless and live fast, why I say out loud what makes others wince. I'm here for a good time, not for so long. One of those wayward ones, born of wild seed and with a short memory, acting like this is always what it was, as if I'ma live forever, as if empires don't fall all the time. I'm an old nigga from an old country, so I move slow. I know about creator time. Some of my favorite aunties are stardust. Some of my nearest elders are old oaks born before this land bore counterfeit colonizer names. And I meditate on 7 generations behind me. I pray for the 7 generations before me. I sleep knowing my chapter could end at any second, and the story would keep going, going, and going. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Simone. Beautiful. So that we just heard from Simone John, and up next is Holly Gurin here at the moment? All right, so Holly may be able to join us at the end, but so up next we'll have Ed Godin.
Okay. This first one's called After Biting the Dental Hygienist, I Think of Chinese Poet Du Fu. Most fear public speaking or death. For me, it's the whine of the drill, but today's just a cleaning, water pick like tool, she says. It's not new, but maybe for you, strained to keep mouth wide, then Mr. Thirsty is inserted to stop me from drowning, which happens to be the dental hygienist's greatest fear as she prospects water to earth, buried alive, spiders, snakes, clowns, dolls. We cover them all with polish, porcelain shine, bubblegum tasting grit, whirling like a deck sander. Exclaims her birthday is same as Mick Jagger's before corner palate tickle triggers bear trap, clenches down on finger. And I have a, did I just bite your finger moment? She is shaking now, but finishes flossing, forces me to spit, and then she quickly splits. The doctor says she'll learn to move her finger quicker. Autumn wind blows fiercely off thatched roof. Downriver moves straw under squidding sky. Soon, rain, iron cold will blanket Du Fu. Okay, this one's called Man Flu. For Kate, the obligation to provide does not extend to writing unless it's amusing, like finding out many years later that you would tell our daughters, he has the man flu. Those days when I couldn't get out of bed, cross hung over my head. This one's called They Say. It's an Ars Poetica. They say writing every day keeps the block at bay, demon's life in its sway. No way, I say. It lets the muse stay so your words can play. And with luck, someday the phone rings. It's Ray. Saw your book today. It's a new poetry book. Okay, so I bought it. You don't say. And read it. Hooray. Wasn't good, by the way, so I threw it away. Good God, what went astray? None of your poems rhymed. Okay, this one's called Field Dancing with an epigraph. It never occurred to me to actually get anywhere in life. Tom Malley, sculptor, West Tisbury, Martha's Vineyard. Imagine being married for 2 years, telling no one but university silence, and dancing with lost dreams sculpted from broken rules of mad love, radically glazed, eloped, and discreet. This is the birth of whim, statuesque, sky-drenched gallery as blue stem glow through coffee shadows of island sumac and swamp maple mist. Like stray politicians and alley dogs, the girls and I leak over from the general store to field dance, whirl and twirl alongside the naked bodies. These white resin clouds mime voluptuous laughter. A caprice of forged fiberglass, epoxy, fountain white, and ready-made inflates to an obscene roundness with pressure from the ridiculous. This field makes no one listen, never occurs to get anywhere. Under lapis sky, my 3 daughters dance. This grassy meadow makes no one rich. This one's called 10. I'm working, it appeared in Book of Matches Lit, and I'm working on a book called The Life Sonnets, a poem for every year of my life. So this is 10, 1975. Mr. Smedley would play Dream On during 5th grade class. He caught me once trying to rub my belly while patting my head during math. As Hooper discovers Ben Gardner's head, root beer barrels spit into beehive hair, my father runs me around the neighborhood in toughskins so he can coach midget football. It escalates to blocking and tackling an 85-pound bag on the front lawn while violence sunsets. Work provides escape. Maslow was a caddy, $6 pull carts, $8 carry plus tips, buys a shitload of stuff. Double kangaroos of 36 self-actualized at the turn. The world reveals itself to a paperboy. Collecting puts you on the inside. Atheist, adulteress, alcoholic. We could cure cancer or murder squirrels for a Briggs & Stratton 7-horsepower go-kart. Body temp, red splayed over glare white snow. Hit it again, coat's too thick. How wondrously supercilious and fractious. I deliver papers and I shoot squirrels. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ed. I really appreciated the one about rhyming. Great stuff. All right, thank you so much. So that was Ed Gaudet. And next up, we'll have the poet Joe Elliott.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Thank you,
Yeah.
MP. Thank you, Boston Poetry Marathon. This is fabulous. Having a great time. All right, I've got a new book. It's called And Everything. So I'm going to read from it. The first one's for Mary Jane. You have all the time in the world because this is all the time there is. And because it can be broken down into seconds and minutes and days and years, it is. It breaks down and grinds to an anxious halt just outside the kindergarten door, right after they've taken away the wigs and instructed us to sort and put away the building blocks and then open the door and let the beyond in. But if the world is whole, that is to say, closed as the face of a 3-year-old cutting paper or pushing a tiny shopping cart and sing-songing to their plastic baby and cannot be broken, if beyond really is beyond and therefore concerns us not at all, maybe we don't have to infinitely expand and crush everything into cinders and fill up and pave over those spaces that are always opening up. All right, Joyce Carol Oates says she writes poems to warm up for her novel writing, which kind of irritated me. So this is a reversal. Novel as foreplay. The inner lives of my characters never want to reveal themselves to me. They never do things that surprise me. All I have are these puppets I have to breathe life into constantly. But I'm not God, and the effort to keep them going is exhausting. I'm actually right now hyperventilating a little just thinking about it, and the reader has begun to worry about me. She thinks I might be crazy to continue to push through this novel without any real connection to the material. She is kind. She puts her hand on mine, stops it from flitting over the keyboard like a moth caught on a screened porch in an out-of-season cabin. It's getting cold. I look at her, and her quiet eyes say, "Come on, stop that writing. Let's go upstairs." Hitching a quick. What they do not tell you in the story of the enormous thumb is how they had to hit that thumb with a hammer every morning and renew that throbbing pain, that habitual suffering, so that the thumb would grow in size enough to be able to lord it over their entire family. That the enormity of the sore thumb stuck out, distracting the audience from noticing the character to whom this enormous thumb was actually attached, and that the thumb is there to oppose and is also a good thing to do to the nose of someone under whose thumb one might be trying to get out from. And of course, extended out, a thumb is good for hitching a quick ride out of this town. The Mop Top. I like the title. Jackie DeShannon in a Field of Flowers, the large plastic cutout flowers of the 1960s, when everything was a symbol of everything else. Even the rifle barrel, the guardsman was pointing at the mop-top, turtlenecked college student. Guns aren't real. They're just a demonstration of power, the kind you can't put your finger on, the kind that disappears down hallways, behind walls and glass and gates, and eventually into landfills. This is what the bullet is for, so you can feel it. This is what the flower is for, so they can feel its goodness, and so that each of them can put a little love in their hearts. Ah, the 60s, the decade when you no longer have to think about what people think about you, no longer have to go to their shows to hear some synthesized cymbals clang. Whatever. All right. This is for Randy Prunty. Dear Randy, thank you for showing me there's nothing to save. This frees up a lot of time on Sunday mornings and pulls that abscess molar out by its bloody roots. For if I'm already submerged in the ocean, if all manner of sea creatures are already flitting and darting by me on the corner of M and East 17th, if what I was holding on to is already salted and leached, and what's left of that bleached and weightless, and will last forever, lightly tumbling along the sandy floor with every gently undulant and enormously inertial tug of that body, then why this dread of drowning? All right, last one. This is for Dennis Nursky. He came to the school I teach at and talked to my students, and I stole things he said to the students and put them in this poem. When a non-poet dies, you're left with their furniture, their rugs, paintings, pots and pans, shirt and shoes, coats, photos, and a few stories strangers tell about them at a ceremony you're never ready for, all of which, of course, is nothing, for you don't have them. But when a poet reaches the end, you're left with their poems as well, which can keep you close to them, sometimes bring you even closer than you were to them when they were alive. You take off your coat and tie and start to go through a poem, and that is when their deepest and best part comes rushing back to you, and you feel you finally understand them, and maybe even yourself. It's as if they weren't really here when they were here, and now that they're gone, they're really, really here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, that was great. So that was poet Joe Elliott. And up next, we have Suzanne Mercury.
All right. Joe, that was amazing. I loved that poem. So applause to you. Thank you very much for introducing me. Thank you everyone who is here, everyone who is watching the Boston Poetry Marathon. This time of the year is like Christmas to me. You know, some people look forward to Christmas. I look forward to this event, and I'm just so glad this is happening, and I'm so glad to see all of you. I'm going to read 3 poems, and I'll just jump into it. This first poem is called Seed. If it is there, it is as all, seed coat and endosperm, seed leaf and stem, all curled inside, barely green, an embryo, an ear, as if a boat set sail within the ear. In the cold night, where or there of the earth am I? Planting a seed is an intimate subversion, creates a bridge between one world and the next. And where of the wave-shaped murmuration of starlings searching, they draft and break the crevices way, fortitude out of all, grace and birdsong spiraling into the sky, and the earth remediated in pauses and interstices where we recorded all that we had to say. Excuse me, I was blocking my thing. Sorry about that. Next poem is called Flicker Threshold. I'm a beekeeper. And this poem is about how bees see the world. They see things that we don't see. It'd be really hard to explain that quickly, but their view of the world and what they're able to see, the colors they see are completely different from ours. And it's pretty amazing to study this. Flicker threshold. The bee's persistence of vision inverts the constant motion of daylight. It craves a wild ride. How many ways does it see the wind-tossed flowerscape in the zoetrope of what world? Be it that, and now this. Wings are the veined bridal veils, smelling of last night's party. They are beating in place. How do they perceive the luminous flux in this cloud skin of daylight? How else do they find the nectar guides coaxing them and whirling beneath, returning all to its original syntony and spark? Your turn, sunflower. All of me calls out to you now. Thrash, 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 thrash. A rainstorm just starting as these winged ghosts light down, gold on gold again, contained in sunlight. Your turn, bee. My eye is not enough, but I will rake your light with my hair. And this last poem, I'm just going to read 3 this time. It's called Swallows and Damselflies, and it's from my first chapbook. Swallows and damselflies, evening, and the violet-green swallows descend, unraveling the day's sky. They are a shaped, changing cloud of no maker, drafting, spiraling, breaking away, bright wings hardly moving as they devour astronaut spiders in their silken arachno flight. Wisps in the light, caught in hunger, give them time. They will tear their holes into the Anthropocene. Damselfly, she sits on my eyelash, her iridescent voguing. Why trace this distance now? In the pond water, up to my chin, paired damselflies cartwheel past in their mating dance, bending, arching into the sky, swept off their ecstasies by these birds, swallowed in an instant, cobalt flashing. Here we go. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm so glad to see you all. It's been a great day.
Yeah, it has been beautiful. Thank you so much. So that was Suzanne Mercury. And our last poet to finish out this hour is Holly Gurin.
Thank you so much. It's such amazing. The first poem I want to read, first of all, Suzanne, I just love the bee poem. I love bees to begin with. I have a poem about becoming bee, and and this first poem I'm going to read, you'll see it fits so much with what you just read. So here we go. Let's see. It's called As If for My Delight. Ahead of my steps around the pond, skipping one by one, a chorus line of frogs. Beneath this insect cloud, slimy weeds cluster in wreaths. Tadpoles, green and emerald frogs, bubble in the mud, then leap. A bullfrog close behind me arcs wide, then hits. Splash! I jump. Overhead, the damsel dragons mate. 8 wings beat shamelessly. Their ecstatic vibrations proof that gravity demands the horizontal for our human couplings in the season's lush heat. The next one is from my book called Now Before and Ever, my recent book. And it's called Lenten Sprouts Between the Cracks. Between cracks of memory, much lingers. The present floats up with its daily repetitions, beneath it, the dreams. I am stroking the soft hair under my dog's chin. My brain sends pleasure to my fingertips. Although she's recently gone, we chose this, resting at peace in the garden. In the dream, her sigh of contentment soothes the discomfort from a tooth my dear dentist will soon claim. It will go the way of what is beyond saving. Or will the tooth remain whole past the time of my body? Will our dog's teeth remain? Will our dog's teeth stay in the garden? Will I be redeemed? I grew up near the Hudson River, and the next poem is called Hudson River. The Hudson has a magnet smell. Dark water, railroad track, spongy grass, rocks scattered, wrappers tossed. The Hudson has a railroad depot, abandoned, revived, a party for a cousin turning 80. The freight trains go by, a long chain clanging, guests turn, not hearing each other, the roar subsides. Stranger beside me remembers Johnny Mathis, and I do, yes. Chances are. Didn't sex send sparks? We compare. He saw Miles at a dive. I saw Ahmad Jamal. Come what may. His Poinciana, I'll learn to love forever. He loves certain lyrics, a guide on how to live. 4 years since his wife died. He leaves, keeps returning, his pressing need for the forgotten prelude to hello, young lovers. And then he has it. When the earth smelled of summer and the river, and the sky was streaked with white, we sing. Beyond us, a huge barge of trash, pushed by a small tugboat, navigates the Hudson. And then let me see what's gonna be next here. I think I'll do one more. Maybe that's about right, I think. I meant to put on my timer and I didn't. So, okay, so I'll do one more. Autumn in the land of Uncle's farm for the season. Apple blossoms turned to fruit, filled the window well at home. Precious crates, for weeks they held the juice. Mostly Macs and sometimes Northern Spies. Pies that left me with a taste for sweet. Those crates I sat in, riding down the ramp with cousin Jim, first love. How old were we? To catch us if the cars capsized, our parents stood beside. Those loved ones all live on in mist that drifts high above the orchard. Below, the new crop is in. Someone else's uncle drives a truck, hires the men to pick and pack, then sends the harvest off to realms unknown. Thank you.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Holly. That was great. So glad you were able to join us. Yeah, what a fantastic hour. Thank you so much to everybody who read. And reminder for our audience, we heard some amazing poems by Clay Ventry, Ariella Ruth, Philippa Soros, Sarah Pearlstein, Simone John, Ed Goddett, Joe Elliott, Suzanne Mercury, and Holly Gurin. And so we'll take stick around and come back for the 5 o'clock hour when we'll get a chance to hear poetry by Jennifer LeBlanc, Casey Fallon, Carrie Bennett, Fred Marchand, Josette Akresh Gonzalez, Carol Weston, Amanda Cook, Christina Liu, Sarah Letorno, and Carla Schwartz. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you so much.